What do you want?
Welcome to our renewed feature here at 366weirdmovies.com, the Weird View Crew. This is where we're going to start doing video movie reviews along with our archive of written reviews already on the site. We're going to try some video reviews for a while. A good way to cover movies that may not necessarily be on the list of the weirdest movies ever made, but we're going to try to evaluate each one to see where it would fit and whether or not it is worthy of the honor. Space is the Place for a film written by and starring the late jazz musician Sun Ra. It's a troublesome film to review, so we'll warn you ahead of time. Maybe if you find matters pertaining to race to be a triggering issue, then you may want to skip this one because it's very outspoken.
This is Jimmy Fay, Channel 5 Stone Jive, the all-black station for all black people with all the news that grooves it new.
Space the Place functions as part of a concert film and part religious propaganda for Sun Ra's Afrofuturist views. Sun Ra takes the role of a messiah for the black race, which plans to transport his people to the relatively unspoiled planet Saturn in order to escape oppression. He plans to do this through, what else, the power of music. So far we have a pretty corny setup for your average concert, concept album, what have you. But it gets better. The first few minutes of this movie play like a live-action Fantastic Planet as Sun Ra surveys the planet Saturn and approves it as a new home for his people.
There was no one to talk to from planet Earth, you understand. We set up a colony of black people here. See what they can do on the planet all their own without any white people there.
And think how much fun the kids will have playing with those floating jellyfish things. We got to a nightclub as Sun Ra, billed as Sunny Ray, plays piano in a bump and grind joint. Enter his antagonist, this gentleman in white, who aims to make trouble for Sunny Ra.
Yes, sir. What would you like?
Sir, the piano player. Now get him out of there and start the show.
But Sunny fights back by playing the piano so furiously that he barely sets the place on fire and the club patrons flee in chaos.
I should have known you'd pull some shit like this.
So the man in the white suit is the Overseer, played by Raymond Johnson. He's kind of a devil figure, but only for blacks. His motif seems to be tempting people with the vices of alcoholism, gambling, whoring, and bubblegum to keep them distracted from the real purpose of life, which is to, colonize Saturn. So it looks like this Overseer is Sun Ra's natural or supernatural enemy. The Overseer and Sun Ra decide to settle their differences with, what else, a card game in the desert. This is a card game to determine the ultimate fate of the black community, played out as a battle between good and evil, with symbolic tarot cards used to introduce new story elements. It's kind of a clever little device.
Okay, you name the game, my cut.
Looks like we need a little transportation.
Yeah, they could be playing Fizzbin for all the explanation we get about the rules. But anyway, Sun Ra's spaceship lands on Earth and he begins delivering his message.
As you are probably aware, several local mystics have predicted a landing from space this afternoon here at this spot opposite the Sector 5 government building in the person of a black musician and thinker named Sun Ra.
Which somehow has to be communicated through this big helmet whose power is apparently enough to knock the wearer unconscious. That is the reporter character Jimmy Fay, played by Christopher Brooks. He falls under the Overseer's influence and becomes his patsy, even to a fault. Sun Ra is a tough sell to the youth of Oakland, California, mainly because he runs around dressed like he raided King Tut's wardrobe. And I'm talking about the Batman villain.
What it is.
I am Sun Ra, ambassador from the intergalactic regions of the Council of Outer Space.
Why are your shoes so big?
Are those moon shoes?
How do we know you for real? Yeah, how we know you ain't somebody off Telegraph Street, some old hippie or something?
But like any good messiah, Sun Ra has Zen-like nuggets of wisdom with which to answer.
How do you know I'm real?
Yes.
I'm not real. I'm just like you. You don't exist in this society. If you did, your people wouldn't be seeking equal rights. You're not real. If you were, you'd have some status among the nations of the world. So we're both myths. I do not come to you as a reality. I come to you as the myth.
So, that's my messianic plan. Any questions?
What if we won't come? You gonna make us come?
Then I'm gonna have to do you like they did you in Africa. Chain you up, take you with me.
Stay on the chain, say. Sun Ra then opens an employment agency to begin transporting blacks back to Saturn.
You find Earth boring, just the same old, same thing. Come on, time up without a space, Ways Incorporated.
This leads to one of the most hilarious setups in the movie, as Sun Ra mans the desk and delivers his riddling answers to visitors' naive questions.
I need a job, and I don't know what to do.
What have you been doing lately?
Nothing, really, nothing.
How long have you been doing nothing?
Quite some time.
You must be an expert at it.
Got my BA.
We'll hire you to do that.
How much I get paid, man?
Nothing.
This dialogue is straight out of a Kurt Vonnegut novel, and it steals my heart every time. But meanwhile, we have these NASA bad guys. Just look at them. Look at how white they are. You know they're up to no good. They've been following Sun Ra and are trying to steal his space technology for NASA. You might be forgiven for mistaking him for the FBI, the way they're wiretapping him, but NASA just does that now.
Why not a concert?
A concert? Whatever you say.
Sun Ra plans a big concert event where the musical planetary rapture is about to take place while the NASA guys plot to stop him. They even resort to kidnapping at one point and torturing him by... This is graphic, please look away if you're faint of heart. Forcing him to listen to Dixie.
You'll see, it's for the best. Besides, I really want to catch your concert tonight.
As I say, like a propaganda movie, everything is reduced to jingoisms and the villains are just mean and rotten for the heck of it. The downsides to Space as a Place include not only Sun Ra's philosophy delivered like an anvil to the skull, but a shoestring budget, amateur production, wooden acting, and a disjointed story. It has outdated views. It's not like there's never been a black astronaut after all, and it is impossible not to cringe when you hear this jive turkey dialogue.
The dude wants you to buy his record, you dig. He's not dealing in black magic soul power.
In Sun Ra's defense, he isn't really expressing anything, but wished that his people, very much displaced throughout history, had a place to call their own. Sun Ra was sympathetic with pro-activist groups of the time, but he was far from any kind of Black Panther character. This was 1974, after all. The civil rights struggles of the 1960s still very much festering in the public consciousness. Reportedly, Sun Ra was a heavy reader and never seemed to pass up an occult topic, including the very obvious Egyptian influences. Professionally, Sun Ra was a much-respected musician, and this film is a showcase for fragments of his orchestra performances. Sun Ra was an innovator and influencer in the early experimental jazz period, including being one of the first to use synthesizers.
We are another order of being.
We bring to you the mathematics of an altered destiny.
We bring to you the mathematics of an altered destiny.
Look up, see the greater universe.
Look up, see the greater universe.
That blues shouter with a haunting soul cries is June Tyson, and her performance is hypnotizing. If you want me to join your cult, putting June Tyson up front is a pretty good sell. The music interludes help smooth out the show. Now, you have to wonder, how seriously should we have taken the man from Saturn? Did he really believe his own myth, or was this kind of just part of the show and he was pulling our leg? I'd say a little of both. Bear in mind that inventing a mythos to go with your music has been a thing before in popular culture. George Clinton had his outer space menagerie with Parliament Funkadelic, the Beatles invented Sgt. Pepper, David Bowie had his Ziggy Stardust phase, and a little over a decade after Space is a Place, Michael Jackson would don another white suit to become Moonwalker. You could just see Sun Ra following suit, maybe having a little bit of fun with the concept. In the end, Space is the Place is no worse to sit through than your average concert film. It makes a great time capsule for 1970s racial dialogue, even though the blaxploitation knob is cranked up to 11 throughout the whole show. Sun Ra is definitely a unique character, and his magnetic presence fits here like a capstone on a pyramid. This movie is rarely good, but it's never boring for its tight 82-minute runtime. Is Space is the Place a weird movie? Absolutely. For one thing, nothing like it will ever be made again. Although Sun Ra lived 2 decades after this movie's release, he never made another movie. Ditto the film's director, John Coney, directing his only feature film. While Sun Ra is egotistical as all get out, as a self-cast messiah, he's still got more energy than some backyard film directors we could name, who also like to cast themselves in messianic roles. This movie is crammed with mirror-faced, cloaked dancers, people in Egyptian animal masks riding around Oakland, California, wacky card games, left-field funny lines, campy vibe, and gratuitous nudity. So, even though it's a rough script to choke down, it does raise a discussion point or two and presents an understandable, if not rational, argument. With a bigger budget, I could see this as another Phantom of the Paradise. But for weird movie fans or avant-garde jazz geeks, Space is a place for at least a one-time visit.